A very good morning to you all and welcome back. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. And we begin with Ukraine. 2 people have been wounded after a barrage of Russian drones and missiles struck Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv. The assault left about 80% of the area without electricity. In the attack, the Russians targeted residential buildings, a school and a kindergarten, according to local officials. The strikes caused a large fire and firefighters were rushed to battle the flames. Russia has also launched an attack on an infrastructure facility in the western city of Lviv, according to officials reporting on Tuesday. With the mercury hitting below -10 degrees Celsius in Ukraine, Russia has intensified its strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Since New Year, the capital city Kyiv has faced power and heating knockouts to thousands of residents. Ukraine will need to give up the Donbas region to Russia to earn American security guarantees, the Financial Times has reported, citing several people familiar with the peace talks. Washington has also reportedly suggested it could provide Ukraine with more weaponry to boost its peacetime defenses if the war-torn country agrees to pull back its troops from the parts of eastern regions it controls. The White House responded to the Financial Times that the claims are, quote, totally false, adding that it only aims to bring both sides to sign a deal. The Ukrainian side, in turn, wanted to ensure the U.S. guarantees would be binding before it cedes any land, according to the paper. Last week, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy said those guarantees had been finalized, but as Financial Times reports, the issue of territorial concessions hadn't been worked out by the time Ukraine entered trilateral talks with the U.S. and Russia over the weekend. And most of the drones used by the Ukrainian armed forces come from domestic production, says Volodymyr Zelenskyy. The Ukrainian president praised the country's drone operations teams for managing to destroy 80% of its targets.
Today, more than 80% of enemy targets are destroyed precisely by drones. The majority are domestically produced drones. It pleases me to know these drones are of Ukrainian production. In just the past year, Ukrainian drones hit with precision 819,737 targets. It's clear we record every single strike, and we also have points for each strike. You know this from personal experience. Our bonus system of electronic points works to scale up defense results. In December, our units achieved a result of 37,000 destroyed occupiers.
Meanwhile, Kyiv is grappling with a humanitarian crisis due to continued Russian attacks on Ukraine's energy grid. But Warsaw's initiative called Warmth from Poland, focused on providing Kyiv with power generators, is helping war-torn country survive the winter. That's according to Mirosława Gongadze, a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, whom I spoke to during last night's World News Tonight. Here's more.
Ukraine is actually falling into humanitarian crisis, specifically Kyiv and eastern of Ukraine. Russia is bombarding Ukraine almost every second night, and barely any light is existed or generated in Ukraine. So those generators are life savers, and basically, even if we're talking about energy here, this is justice already. So helping with this, to help Ukrainians to withstand these attacks, that's very important.
President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen took to social media to announce that the EU and India have finalized a free trade deal connecting their 2 economies. The agreement has been in the works for almost 2 decades and is expected to be implemented within a year's time.
And will further strengthen cooperation between our service sectors. And not just this FTA will boost investment between India and the European Union. It will help forge new innovation partnerships and will strengthen supply chains at a global level. Which means that this is not just a trade agreement, it is a new blueprint for shared prosperity.
Friends, along with this ambitious FTA, we are also creating a new framework for mobility. This will create new opportunities for Indian students, workers, and professionals in the European Union. With respect to science and technology, we have had extensive cooperation between us for a long time. Today, we have taken a decision to further strengthen these important linkages as well. Friends, defense and security cooperation forms the basis of any strategic partnership, and today we are formalizing it through a security and defense partnership. This will further deepen our partnership in the areas of counter-terrorism, maritime and cyber security. It will also strengthen our shared commitment to a rules-based international order. It will enable us to expand the scope of our cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region, and it will also create new opportunities for co-development and co-production for our defense companies. Friends, building on our achievements today, we are launching an even more ambitious and holistic strategic agenda for the next 5 years. In a complex global environment, this agenda will give us a clear direction. It will take forward.
And what we heard just a moment ago was a live address from India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was speaking in New Delhi after the signing of the EU-India trade deal, which is dubbed the mother of all deals, 20 years in the making. And now let's move on. France's lower house of parliament has passed a legislation banning the use of social media platforms for children under 15. The bill will now move to the Senate. France is the latest country to initiate implementation of a social media ban for underage teens, joining the ranks of Spain and New Zealand. Also, a social media ban for children under 16 is already in place in Australia.
The bill that brings us together this evening does not simply concern tools or social networks. In reality, I believe it challenges us about the model of society that we want and that we defend. Do we want a society of violence, brutality, permanent power struggles, or cyberbullying? A society that degrades the mental health of our young people? Or do we want, on the contrary, a society of fraternity and humanism where differences are accepted and where we constantly do everything possible to protect our young people from all influences and all forms of manipulation?
Hungary and Slovakia have pledged to challenge an EU-wide total ban on imports of Russian gas, which was approved by the bloc on Monday. The two countries, heavily reliant on Russian energy supplies, are disgruntled with the full prohibition of LNG and pipeline gas from Russia, which is set to come to fruition at the end of 2026 and autumn 2027, respectively. In response to the move, the Hungarian foreign minister wrote on X that his country would use every legal means to see the decision annulled. He also noted that energy-related decisions lie within the country's authority and that the ban would drive up energy costs for Hungarian families. In a similar vein, Slovakia said it would take up the matter with the EU's Court of Justice, arguing the bloc must ensure a fair, realistic, and socially sustainable transition for all member states. Meanwhile, the Slovakian Supreme Court has begun its review of the murders of journalist Jan Kuciak and his fiancée Marina Kushnirova, which led to the resignation of the country's government in 2018. This government was led by then Prime Minister Robert Fico, now again the Prime Minister. Our correspondent reports on the possible repercussions of this review on Fico's current administration.
Marian Kochner is now facing his third court appearance over the murders of investigative journalist Jan Kuciak and his fiancée Martina Kushnirova, shot dead in 2018. Kuciak was investigating Kochner's business activities and had been threatened by the businessman, who had links to the country's political elite. The killing triggered a wave of public anger, leading to the resignation of then Prime Minister Robert Fico.
And this was beyond any lines that Slovakia could actually imagine. It was very closely connected, based on the information that was available, to some of the high-level people.
Kochner has already been acquitted twice of ordering the murders. This latest phase was demanded by a Supreme Court review. He's currently serving a 19-year sentence for fraud in an unrelated case. His alleged accomplice, Elena Zizova, is in court with him. Sentenced to 25 years for organising the murders, her case is also subject to review. Fico was re-elected Prime Minister in 2023. Kochner's former links to Slovakian politics have raised concerns about the trial's integrity.
The thing that we know is that the legal counsel and the representation for Marian Kochner is the same person as a person that is an advisor to the Prime Minister.
Similar concerns were raised when Slovakia's whistleblower office was dismantled last year, reportedly under pressure from Interior Minister Mateusz Szutajstok. Zuzana Szybova, a critic of the Agricultural Paying Agency, which distributes EU agricultural subsidies in Slovakia, was recently held by police, an act described as political harassment.
For years, I have been trying to draw attention to serious findings of our anti-corruption section at the Economic Payments Agency relating to misuse of European Union funds. And that's exactly what I'll be talking about in Brussels in front of the European Parliament Budget Control Committee on January 27th.
It's not clear why this happened at this specific time. It seems like it was very much connected to Shubova's appearance in the European Parliament.
Szybova is adamant she will make it to her hearing in Brussels. As for Kochner and Zuzova, the Supreme Court review could take up to a year to complete. For TVP World, Andrew Sweeney.
Elon Musk's social media platform X is in hot water again after the European Commission opened a brand new investigation following a wave of non-consensual sexualized deepfakes created by its AI chatbot Grok. This would not be the first time X has faced potential consequences in the EU, as only a month ago the platform was fined €120 million for lapses in transparency. Aisha Badje has this next report.
Today, the Commission is opening an investigation into Grok under the Digital Services Act.
Another European Commission investigation targeting the platform X and Elon Musk's chatbot Grok is at the center of the backlash.
We have seen over the last weeks and months anti-Semitic content. We have seen non-consensual deepfakes of women, and we have seen child sexual abuse material. In Europe, no company will make money by violating our fundamental rights.
The latest deepfake scandals, where the phrase "put her in a bikini" soared on the social media site, has triggered governments worldwide to react.
Madam Minister, allow me to show you two images. The first is a simple photo of me innocently posted on social media. The second was generated in a matter of seconds by artificial intelligence, which stripped me naked and sexualized me without my consent.
In Belgium, the government might ask X to disable AI within the platform.
I am currently analyzing the possibility of suspending the use of artificial intelligence from the X network at the national level.
In the UK, British media regulator Ofcom introduced new laws criminalizing the generation and distribution of non-consensual new deepfakes of real people.
The actions of Grok and X are disgusting and they're shameful. And frankly, the decision to then turn this into a premium service is horrific.
And Malaysia, Indonesia, together with the Philippines, opted for a more radical resolution, banning Grok AI altogether.
Grok can tend to cause more harm to women and children, so the ban will protect the well-being and mental health of women.
And now the EU, who had called Grok's so-called spicy mode illegal and disgusting, has launched an official investigation into the matter, just after it handed X a €120 million fine for failing to follow online transparency rules in December last year.
We are now examining to what extent X may, in any case, be in violation of the DSA.
The EU's Digital Services Act, along with the Digital Markets Act, is part of the bloc's push to police big tech. The DSA forces platforms to remove illegal content and protect users. In Poland, the law meant to implement the DSA was vetoed by President Karol Nawrocki, a move welcomed by Elon Musk himself.
Take over, Elijah.
The latest backlash against Grok is in line with Mr. Musk's desire to create the most anti-censorship, quote, maximally truth-seeking chatbot. But the growing consensus among governments worldwide suggests that in practice, the line between truth-seeking and illegality has likely been crossed. For TVP World, I'm Aisha Badja.
And so this would be all the latest news for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm Klaudia Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World on top of every hour for a portion of some of the latest news.